Try to remember a kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Those are the lyrics from the most popular play ever off-Broadway. It played for 4 decades, The Fantastics, and one of the songs, a very memorable part of that, was Try to Remember a kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Well, here we are in a September where the grass is green and the grain is yellow. It's autumn, 1953, and the trees of New England are beginning to dress for fall. I arrive on the PC campus as a freshman. The president is Dominican Father Robert Joseph Slavin. It's autumn, 1964. I return to campus, wearing the white habit of a young Dominican priest with 2 new assignments: assistant to the bursar, at the time Father Charles Vincent Farrah Fennell, and faculty member in the Department of Religious Studies, teaching juniors the church, sacraments, and in the spring semester, Christian marriage. With the exception of 5 years off for good behavior in New York, where I served our province as economic administrator, Providence College is my home for more than 40 years, almost as long as the Fantastics performed off-Broadway. Fast forward to July of '06, after 10 years in our admission office, the president of the college invites me to serve our alumni and alumnae as chaplain. There's no manual of policy and procedure, so the future is beyond my vision, but not entirely outside my control. The good I can accomplish will be limited only by my imagination and energy. I have both in spades. And so begins my new adventure. My first experience in the alumni chaplaincy is surreal, an ordeal that tests my stamina, my emotional stability, and my resiliency almost to the breaking point. An alumna in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, a member of the class of 1975, and her husband, the class of '76, had just been notified that their son, a lance corporal serving with the Marines in Iraq, is no longer alive. A call is made by their family to the college to ask our prayer. In less than an hour, I was on my way to Fitchburg, Massachusetts to be with the family. And it was a very unusual test of my priesthood, test of my faith, because these people were beyond despair, knowing that in a few days, in a casket from Iraq, their son would be home. The Mass for him was preceded by a wake, and I said, "Where are you going to have the wake?" And they said, "In the funeral parlor." And I said, "No, the New England funeral parlors are all the same. They're very tall, they're hard to get into, there's not much space, and parking is limited. So why don't you go to the high school?" He just graduated from Fitchburg, "and ask them if they can use, if you can use their new theater for his wake." And so they did, and the high school embraced them with open arms. And for 3 hours, there were the people of Fitchburg and well beyond. The young and the old, the rich, the poor, the black, the white, the yellow. They filed past his bier, and for one brief moment, the clear, cool air of eternity touched their little lives. The Mass was held the next morning, and the burial was to be in Arlington, Virginia. And I said to his mother, "Joan, I'll get down with the body. It would be an honor for me to do that." And she said, "No, we're all going." And so we did. We arrived at Arlington Cemetery, and I was met by the priest chaplain, a Marine officer, who told me, "Sir, you have exactly 7 minutes And I looked at him and I said, I don't know how long this is going to be, but it won't be 7 minutes, maybe 10 or 15. And he was very upset at that. And I moved it along as quickly as I could, completed the prayers at the grave. The flag was folded in a triangle and handed to the mother of the dead Marine. And I thought to myself, I just can't close this with a simple prayer. I've got to say something. And so I said this. When I was a young priest in New York City, I was in St. Patrick's Cathedral. And I heard one brother say this about another. My brother need not be idealized or enlarged in death beyond what he was in life. To be remembered simply as a good and decent man who saw wrong and tried to right it, saw suffering and tried to heal it, saw war and tried to stop it. Those of us who loved him and bring him to his rest today hope that what he was for us and wished for others will someday come to pass for all the world. For as he said in many parts of this nation to those he touched and to those who reached out to touch him, some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream things that never were and ask why not. I said those words helped me when I was a young priest, and now I'm an old priest, and I hope they help you. And now let us pray. And I said the prayer, closed the ritual, and off about 10 yards away from where I was standing, sitting on a lawn chair, was Senator Edward Kennedy, with tears pouring down his face, for I had just quoted his words at his brother's funeral. I didn't know what to say. And I went to him and I said, Senator, how's Patrick? And he said, oh, he's fine, he's fine. He runs into a bump in the road every now and then, but he's doing just fine. And I thought, my God, if this is the first thing I'm doing as chaplain to the alumni, what's this going to be all about?